Okay, you got to see this image here. Look at that. Wildfire burning out so many people. That's our wildfire watch. More than 10,000 acres look just like that in Spokane, Washington. Happening right now, 3 fires burn and there's 0 containment. In fact, yesterday, Washington's governor announced federal emergency declaration status that empowers and sends in more federal resources to thousands recovering.
There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It looks like a war zone.
What are you going to do now?
We've all decided collectively as a family, being out in this community for 3 generations, that that's home, and we're not going anywhere. So it's time to move forward, and we will rebuild and take it day by day.
CBS News correspondent Kris van Cleave with the human stories behind the wildfire headlines.
Firefighters have been working around the clock trying to build containment lines around the 3 fires here in the Spokane area. All 3 continue to burn, and they know they have a bit of a race against the clock here. Weather conditions are going to deteriorate on Friday when high temperatures and increasing winds will come back. That raises the fire danger considerably. The focus on today and on Thursday is trying to contain, or at least direct the fire away from homes here in the Spokane area. Tens of thousands of people remain under evacuation orders, and firefighters are getting some reinforcements. About 24 firefighters from the San Francisco Bay Area are being sent this way. The idea is to have them in place before the weekend when that fire danger climbs. At this point, the sheriff tells us they've still had no reports of any major injuries or loss of life, but you still have tens of thousands of people evacuated from their homes ahead of this weekend's return of fire danger and high heat. The sheriff says they're doing that on purpose because they don't want people to come home and then have to try to evacuate them again 12 or 24 hours later. Across this community, people have been returning to some of the areas that have burned and finding many don't have much to come home to. We know 700 or more structures have been burned in this fire, many of them homes. There are still hundreds more that are to be assessed. The focus, though, really is on trying to contain these fires so when conditions worsen, the fires don't come back to the neighborhoods. Back to you.
Okay, Kris, so we heard from some of those Bay Area firefighters. Wind today giving a tiny bit of a break, but I'm also hearing it's going to come back. Where's it going to take the smoke?
Well, the majority of the Pacific Northwest right now are still under air quality alerts issued by the National Weather Service because that wind picked up that smoke and moved it over into places like Idaho, Montana, down into the Bay Area too. And so now what we're keeping a close eye on this afternoon, of course, is that northwest wind just along the west coast. But of course, we're also monitoring strong gusty conditions, bringing in poor air quality conditions into states like Colorado, Wyoming are also included in on that, and that gray color you see next to me. It is also a very hot setup for all of our friends and family that are over into the West Coast right now. We're talking about extreme heat warnings down into southern Nevada and California, heat advisories along the Central Valley and places close to Fresno, and we're also seeing heat advisories issued up into Oregon and Washington today too. As we take a quick look at the smoke and where it's at and of course where it's going, we're monitoring this closely because a lot of that smoke is getting picked up along the West Coast and moved down, bringing in moderate air quality throughout Northern California, while we're seeing far worse conditions up into the Pacific Northwest. Here's our current air quality right now. Yellow is that moderate color, unhealthy or very unhealthy is in those darker colors you see behind me up into the Pacific Northwest. And this is now the following day of, we're seeing day after day of poor air quality widespread throughout this region. Of course, we're keeping a close eye on Spokane, Portland, Eugene, Oregon, all dealing with conditions to where you have to go outside, wear a mask, and continue to hydrate and limit your time outside. Now, the fire weather conditions today start to shift a little bit away from the Pacific Northwest, closer to Utah, Colorado, and parts of Wyoming too. We're seeing critically dry conditions this afternoon. We're also dealing with a lot of gusty afternoon winds, and then last but not least, those hot temperatures sticking around for us for another day, Reed.
Jess, thank you so much.